This conference will now be recorded.
Hey.
So this is it. So now what we'll do, just so we can be efficient before we start chatting, talking, spilling out our lives to everyone, just really quick, just for the quick introductions. I'm Dan Digman. I was diagnosed with MS in 2000. I live in Michigan with her.
And hi, I'm Jennifer Digman. I live in Michigan. I was diagnosed in 1997. I live with him.
Okay, then Rick, and then we're always clockwise from my camera, so then it's out over to Frank.
And my name is Frank Austin. I was diagnosed in 1997, and I am in Kansas.
Nice. And then over at 1 o'clock is Hannah.
Hello, everyone. I'm Hannah, and I was diagnosed in 2017, and I'm in San Antonio, Texas. So
Nice.
hi.
And 3 o'clock, then try. You talk to me then. Who are you, and have we met before?
Hello, I'm Tree Tree. I go by Tree Tree. Hannah knows me as Allison. She invited me. I'm also in San Antonio, Texas. I was diagnosed a week and a half ago.
Wow. Well, welcome to the club, right?
Welcome to the club. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, then we'll wait till actually we'll go to the middle so Michelle can stop drinking. Here we go. This is in the middle. There is Kim. Kim, what's your name? Where are you at?
Hi, I'm Kim, diagnosed 2012, Des Moines, Iowa.
Boom. And then jumping then to 9 o'clock. That's Doris. Is that you over there on the side?
Yes, I'm here. This is Doris, and I was diagnosed in 1998, and I live in California, Newport Beach, California.
Nice. And now we're going to go back down to 6 o'clock with you, Michelle. Your name's Michelle. How long you been diagnosed with? I'm buying time for you. How long you been diagnosed, and where do you live?
I was diagnosed in 2015, but began symptoms back in 86. I live in Florida, right next to Disney. And what else did you ask me?
That's it to start, because now we can start the meeting because we know everybody and what we're doing and where we've been. And and this is where we will be transparent because it's in total honesty with everyone. And I don't want to say if we skip out around 9:30, 10 o'clock tonight, but we got sucked into the World Series and the Dodgers could win it tonight in game 6. And I think it's just that we didn't watch an entire baseball game all season long, but then get sucked in, see the Dodgers, and the Great Lake Loons, see this? That's the minor league baseball team for the Dodgers. It's like a half hour away, and we see these guys play all the time. The number of Dodgers who are there that we've seen play in the minors, you're just like, oh my God, I'm so sucked in. So if we happen to get to be like 9:45 and say, okay, you guys carry amongst yourselves, we got a game to watch because the Dodgers need us, that would be it. So just so we're transparent, I'm not saying, oh, I'm too tired, I need to go to bed. No, it's the Dodgers. So anyway, that's our transparency from the get-go. So
We will forgive you.
Yeah.
thank you.
Love
Thank
it.
you.
We know what's more important.
Well, I get to see you guys twice every month, and this is like when's the last time the Dodgers could win the World Series since like 1988. So so that's it. Okay, I'll stop talking unless I'll let her take over.
I don't want to put anyone on, like, make anyone talk who doesn't want to talk, or, that, I guess. Hannah, how are you doing? How are things going?
Me, I'm doing good. I actually got to take a nap today, so
Nice.
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Yeah, I got to take a nap. Been working on some artwork around here. Y'all don't
That
see
looks
this, but
really great. I see the pictures on Facebook, Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I try to keep busy. That's my thing. I try to keep busy, and I teach art for a living, so I wouldn't trade it for anything else personally.
Nice. Some people use art and some people watch baseball. It's like,
Yep,
you gotta pick your extracurricular activity.
Yes.
exactly, exactly. I had a chance to speak with both Tree and Michelle earlier this week, so I'd call that a very successful week. We both had good conversations when I spoke with them. So yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say later.
Well, I'd love to hear then expand. I mean, wonderful conversations because this is, really we look forward to this just because these are opportunities just to hear other people's perspectives, experiences, and stuff. So, what now it's just like, what were you guys talking about?
I'm
Well,
always
I absolutely. I'll tell you, I wanted to get Hannah's perspective regarding the bowel issue that she mentioned, and because I've been having so much trouble, um, with mine, between my bladder being neurogenic. I guess both of them are neurogenic, but with my bladder retaining so much fluid all the time, and then my bowel not, well, my bowel just getting messy when I'm properly hydrated. It's I'm at this, my two most important organs are not functioning and they're fighting against each other, and I just wanted some other perspective and see what somebody else might have gone through. And yeah, so it was a good conversation. I really enjoyed it. And then we talked about some other stuff.
Of course.
It was
Just
of course.
Can I ask what neurogenic means?
dying or dead, not
Oh, okay,
functioning.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Tree, we probably will use some words because we've been diagnosed for so long. So I'm glad you asked. Just, you have, personally, if you don't mind me telling you my story, when I was diagnosed way back, probably before forever, but my neurologist handed me a book and he said, "Don't read this." And I went home and I read the whole thing from cover to cover. And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm going to have so many problems." And I read all of these words and I didn't understand them. And I'm sure you've probably noticed that, everybody has a different, it's like a disease that affects everyone differently. So, that's one thing is like a newly diagnosed person, I think is pretty important to know is, that everyone's story is different.
Yeah, my mother and grandfather have it, so I'm
Oh,
already
really?
kind
Wow.
of familiar.
Wow. So you were just diagnosed 2 weeks ago?
A week and a half ago, yeah.
Week and a half.
But
Oh,
I've been
you
suspecting it
said
for
your
2 years.
mother?
What'd you say?
I'm sorry. You said your mother had it?
My mother and my grandfather, her father.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was all on that side of the family then.
Yep. So I'm
Wow.
third generation.
Yeah.
See?
Of
Did
legacy.
How did it seem to affect them? How did they get through it? Do you
My
remember?
mother is very poorly off. She had PML, so
Oh,
on her bad days, she can't even talk, let alone do anything else. But
oh,
my grandfather is very well off. All of his issues are just being old.
like
Okay.
mine.
Easy now.
Oh,
Easy.
I'm so sorry about your mom. That's so sad.
What?
But I talked to her the other day, and she's doing a lot better. They
Okay.
finally got her on some good medications, and
Oh, good.
she said she's being able to feed herself, which is a great improvement over the last 2 years that I've seen. So,
And she's trying. That's good.
yeah.
What was she on when she got the PML?
I tried asking her, but she doesn't remember. Her memory is pretty shot.
Okay.
Are you taking
Sorry.
So, yeah. So was this, and I don't want to put you on the spotlight on you, Tree, but I'm just curious, were you kind of prepared, if that's the right word, for your diagnosis, or did you, when you started having symptoms, were you kind of aware? I mean, have you been like living with MS in your family for a long time?
My mom was diagnosed when I was in first grade, so I've been able to spell multiple sclerosis since I was in first grade.
Wow.
Let alone knowing the symptoms. And I've watched her. She was pretty good until I was a teenager, but from the time I was 15 to the time I was 21, I watched her deteriorate rapidly. And she was very, at that point, she was very much like, you have to know the warning signs, darling. Like, this is what you have to look out for. If you drop a cup and you didn't mean to, that's a warning sign. So, like, every time I've dropped a cup since then, I've, like, freaked out. But I think going through that helped me process it a little by little. So when I finally got the diagnosis, it didn't really hit me that hard.
Okay. And then the last question, and I promise, I think. Did you start, or do you have a neurologist? Have you started a disease modifying therapy or anything like that?
I have a neurologist, but I'm trying to get into a different neurology place that specializes in MS.
Okay.
And I haven't started any medications yet.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, I sent her a probably too long of a list of things to look at as far as YouTube videos and as well as all of the doctors. Have you been able to look up any of the doctors here in town?
Yeah, I sent in my records to UT Health, and they lost them, so I have them sent in again.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would keep on calling because their office is good, but they're pretty busy. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, San Antonio seems to have a shortage of MS specialists. So it takes forever to get in the door with anybody. So it's a process.
It's like that here in Orlando as well. I mean, even though we're kind of a large city, there's only 2 MS specialists.
Wow. Two. That blows my mind.
Well, we have, what I say 2, I say 2 clinics. And one of the doctors I know of is retiring, but he says he's been retiring for the last year and a half. He just hasn't quite done it yet. And then the doctor that I see is he's in the other clinic, and he's there are, I want to say 4 or 5 doctors there that, and they specialize in MS. They're the MS Center of Orlando, but they see all neurology as well. So.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I tried
But what I was
looking at
going
the
to
doctors
do,
that weren't at you. Sorry.
I'm sorry, what was your question?
I was just going to tell Hannah I tried looking at the other doctors, but they don't take my insurance. Only UT Health does.
Oh no! If you don't mind me asking, what is your insurance?
Aetna.
Aetna. Okay.
I think
Does
it's
that
a
change
specific
next
plan.
year?
Nope.
Yeah.
My Medicare, my doctor doesn't accept the Medicare Advantage plan that I'm taking, so I see him out of network. And it's, it may be worth it to you to go to somebody out of network, or maybe even have your care managed through your primary. I know that my doctor did that. And if you find a specialist that have interviewed and you really like, then it may be worth it to have that conversation of, out of network versus managing your care through, a primary care physician, alongside, just so that you can keep your costs down.
And
Oh, thank you.
don't be
You're
afraid.
welcome. What I was going to do was recommend this book to you. I don't know if you already have it. You may, but I love this book. It was given to me at the very first support group that I attended at my neurologist office.
I don't
The
have.
book
Wait,
is
oh, right.
the book is Optimal Health with Multiple Sclerosis, Doris. That's the book
Right.
Michelle is holding up.
Nice.
Thank you.
And it's by Alan Bowling, MD, PhD.
Okay.
Thanks, Michelle.
And it is a phenomenal book. It's a guide to integrating lifestyle alternative and conventional medicine, and it tells you what herbals not to take, what could be harmful, what could be indifferent, what could be beneficial, what's going to conflict with any of the medications, the DMDs that are out there, aside from these newer ones, Ocrevus and up. But it talks about everything, and it tells you what not to do. Don't do this. So many people are, on health kits that and it talks about the different diets that are out there too, which, I love that. And I use this a lot to refute claims, outlandish claims in MS Pals. That's what I started doing in 2016 when I first got the book and got into that group. I would be like, no, you need to get this book, and this is what it says. And this is Dr. Bowling was one of the premier MS specialists, I believe, and I think this book needs another iteration, but it's still, regardless, it's one of the best books out there. And it's not necessarily a book that needs to be read cover to cover. It functions that way, but it also functions as a reference book. So if you need something, if you need to know something, like if somebody said to me an herb, I can go to the index, look up that herb, and then read everything I need to know about it.
Excellent.
Oh, that sounds really interesting.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
I also wanted to bring up, you have Aetna Insurance and I do, and why is it they can't pay or help you?
They're not in network for me.
They're not in that what?
Not in
In
network.
network.
Network. Oh, they're out of network. And are you still working?
I have been on disability for 2 years, but it's paid through my company.
You've been on, I'm sorry, what was that again?
Disability.
Disability.
Oh, okay. So through disability, can you get Medicare then?
It's disability through my company.
Long-term disability.
Uh-huh.
She hasn't filed for federal disability.
Okay, that's what I did when I couldn't work any longer. And I was paid disability, which was what I would be getting if I was 65, I guess. They started paying me that till I turned 65. And then it became the same amount.
Wow.
Tree, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask your doctor to join your network.
Right.
Wow.
I mean, I've done that before.
Mm-hmm.
Did it work?
I didn't know that was an option.
Yeah,
It
I
did.
didn't either.
Yeah.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. And while I was when I was on that transition, I didn't have insurance at all. I lost my job 10 days after I was diagnosed, and I didn't have insurance for 2 years while I was going through the process and getting on disability and waiting for Medicare and all that.
Right.
And I just talked to my doctor, and they worked out a deal, a self-pay deal, and I got a discount because I was paying cash. So always talk to the neurologist about your situation. I mean, once you find one that you like, it is absolutely worth it, because if you find the one that's going to work for you, then they will do everything they can to help you along those little stages that, because they've seen it from everybody. It's not anything new to them. So ask them to help you.
Frank, what was that process like for you when you asked your doctor to join your insurance?
I just asked him straightforward. I mean, he wasn't in network. And I just went, I would like for you to be in network. Told him what network I needed for him to join. And he was more than willing to do it.
Huh. All right.
I
Sounds
mean,
like a
do you think that sometimes doctors are like that, where it's just like they don't accept all networks, but if they have a patient who uses that, would they be more apt to join? Or is that,
It's the old thing. You're your best advocate.
yeah,
And you got to stand up and tell everybody what you need.
That's
And
right.
I don't take no.
Right.
So,
I'm like that too.
somebody says no, it's time for me to look into it.
Yes, because you
now,
deserve it. You deserve it, and just realize that we have these available, and why not, use them when we need them.
Hi, Mike.
there's Mike. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Mike, you're muted, guy.
I was gonna say, check to see if your line's on mute.
We have to do that.
Yeah.
There you go.
Better?
There it is.
Yes.
there we go. We hear you.
There isn't another person on
I was
here.
gonna say there's one other person that I see, but I don't. They've been here, but their line is muted too. All I have is B50000006. I don't know if that's somebody. If you're out there and you can't talk, your line's muted. We'd love to hear from you.
I don't say it.
All right, then maybe it's me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I was like, these are the people. This is your team. So we're talking. Mike, welcome.
Thank you.
Now,
Oh,
Tree, are you able to go to like travel outside of San Antonio if you need to, like to Austin perhaps? Is that too far for you?
I don't drive. I have to get my wife to drive me, so it depends on her schedule if I can go somewhere. Which right now is pretty flexible because she's in school, but Austin's like a 2-hour drive because of traffic.
yeah. So you're just you're kind of waiting on a doctor and just kind of in that holding pattern, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, I'm trying to get into the MS clinic here, but they lost my paperwork once. So I'm giving them another try, and we'll see if they lose it again. I'm going to call them every day.
Okay.
Yes, you do that. They are a good clinic here. They really are. So it does surprise me that they lost your paperwork first time around. But there's the doctor, Dr. Romero was my very first. I think we talked about this, but she was my very first neurologist, and I absolutely wish that I could have her as my neurologist these days. But that's okay, you know. Yeah, I hope you call them every day. It's worth it.
Yeah, I had my records faxed over again today, so I'm calling them tomorrow to make sure they got them. And then I'll call them the next day to make sure they're reviewing them.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
And it's
You know what?
2020, so anything could happen, you know.
You know, something similar happened to me. And turns out that the phone number that the girl had pre-programmed into the fax that she was using to send the records was wrong. So my records were going to some random company here in Orlando. And I didn't find out about it until it was like way over, long past. But so I did the same thing that you were doing, and I finally got on the phone with both companies on my work phone and my cell phone at the same time and tried to bust out the problem. And that's what I figured out. But I had to tell her, you need to physically dial that number. Don't use a pre-programmed button. So maybe that's the problem too. Tell them to physically dial the number.
Well, they did confirm that they received the records before, because I called them the day after they were sent, and they received them last week. But then when I called them on Monday to see if they were done reviewing and were going to accept me or not, they told me they had no record of me.
Wow.
Oh,
That's frustrating. Yeah.
yeah.
Can you resend it easily?
Yeah, I got hold of all my doctors, and they resent it. It's easy for me.
Oh, good.
Surprisingly. Seems a little insecure how quick they were to send my records.
Hmm.
Well, I'm glad you got that process going second time around.
So how have you been, Mike?
I've been great. Tomorrow I pick up my hearing aids. Got them at Costco, by the way, and they're half the price of what my friends paid for the same thing going to a private audiologist. I went to Mayo, had the psychiatric test, got the results from that. I'm challenged in the executive function area. Functioning very well. I guess I was really smart when I was younger. Had very high IQ. Not anymore, but so I'm taking care of things. Thanks for Frank. I understand that I may be able to just go off Copaxone and do without it and spend my insurance money where it's going to do me some good, walking and take another drug for emotions and stuff like that. Strange, but everything's so expensive, and but having hearing aids makes me feel like I want to do my whole life over again. I don't think I've heard. I've always had it. I've always had a hearing deficit. So it's really exciting.
Nice.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
That's exciting, yeah.
Yeah,
Just so you know,
thank
Mike, people's IQs decrease as you age. That's the normal thing. That's
No.
not an MS thing.
Oh,
Or
no, really?
everyone's IQs decrease with age.
That
So,
explains it.
Yep.
well, you think about it, a kid soaks up information like that. If you have
Right.
an adult try to learn what the average adult can't do it. And yeah, so it's just normal. So just let you know that.
How is that? Okay, so like IQ going down then, is that just like, is that like book smart? I mean, just in the, yeah.
It's no, so the psych test that Mike's talking about, it's more like those weird, the weird tests, like they'll, God, they do all, like they'll tell you a story verbally. Okay, tell me everything you remember it. And then Thompson pass again, they tell you it again. Okay, answer these questions about this story. And then time passes and they ask you again. Or they do a lot of things. It's not just memory, it's a whole slew of things. They had me do things with my hands. I don't know if they had that, you did that, Mike. But one of them, they gave me a whole bunch of shapes that had different writing on it. Some was print, some was cursive, and then I had to group them in as many different groups as I could possibly think without repeating. Like, these have thick lines, these have thin lines. This has written in cursive, this one's print. These objects have animal names on it. These ones have, pieces of fruit. And just keep, how much iteration. A lot of IQ tests, like, you remember like Iowa test of basic skills or some of those tests where it's just like, okay, here's 3 things that what's the 4th pattern? What should that be? Those kind of things.
That sounds like fun to me.
I'm going to flip through 60 pictures, a couple seconds each picture, and then I'm going to guess way much time, and then I'm going to flip through new pictures. You tell me if you've seen this picture or not before.
All right. Because I'm just
So
like,
it's not like, I wouldn't call that book smart per se.
yeah.
It's more processing and
cognitive, maybe smart.
Yeah, cognitive. It's.
They do get a lot of insights from those. I mean, they told me stuff about myself that my mother, my family wouldn't have known. I didn't, but was spot on when I thought about it. About forming tasks, and forgetting. I've always been a procrastinator, but that's not from being lazy. It's just from inattention or something. I mean, Mayo Clinic, today I had a neurologist. I had to tell him that I've never experienced anything like Kim and I have both been through, where they take a more holistic approach. And everybody with MS has prefrontal cortex damage. Almost everybody. And neurologist has ever talked about that with me. What the bottom line, where I might have trouble with that. And I wanted to know, I wish that all the other neurologists took a similar approach. Very helpful.
So I think that goes back to what we were talking about with Tree. Just how important it is to find the right doctor to help you and to take care of you. And it seems like you found a good doctor, Mike, and that's important.
I went to a neuropsychologist once. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Okay. I went to a neuropsychologist once, and they gave me all those tests, and she decided that I had not a very good short-term memory, but a good long-term memory. I can remember when I was a baby and my baby in my little crib. So that's a long-term memory. But I can't remember things that were just said sometimes, and I have to have them repeated.
That's a lot like dementia patients too, where their memory is terrible, but you start talking about their childhood and young adulthood, and they can tell you all about it. No, that's very common. I have the same thing. Yeah. Or short term, I can't remember anything, but we start talking high school, undergrad days, or earlier, and I'm really good. Now I'm
Uh-huh.
like super fuzzy. Like I don't even know if did I fill it out. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever wonder though? It's like, when we talk about short-term, long-term memory and stuff, and this is just something that we all are dealing with, and just in terms of getting, everybody ages every day. With every day, you're getting older, and so then it's just like, just to make that differentiation of like what's just age versus multiple sclerosis, because when you talk about cognition and stuff, just how that's an issue with MS. So it's like, well, then how do you know? And I think that's the problem that we all face, is just with everything, in terms of like my strength, my coordination, this, that, and the other thing. Is just like, that could just be because I'm getting old, or I'm past my prime, and so physically you just can't do it as much, or is it multiple sclerosis?
Yeah,
It's $1 million question. Go.
Well,
that's one of the questions I asked.
my cognition issues really started in my mid 30s, and I would argue that is not normal for that age. That's like prime cognition age, where you have all the wisdom and the experience, and you can really solidify it. And I was just like, what? So now as I get older, I don't think I can blame MS as much. But at that young age, I'm 41 now, but that young age, no, that was not normal cognition issues due to aging.
Yeah.
For me, I would say my memory issues, and I guess I could say my attention span issues happened or started specifically when I was 17, actually. And I remember thinking, I'm only 17. Like, is this what adulthood is? Just forgetting everything
Yeah.
all the time.
Oh.
And I never got any help for it. And, I kind of wish I did at that age, But I think last time I briefly mentioned that, or maybe one of these times that we had a meeting, I mentioned that I heard from a researcher from UT Austin that told me that most memory problems in MS come from the depression, actually. And
Mhm.
yeah, and I don't know. I still just think about that all the time, and whether or not that does play a huge part in, for myself at least. And I know that depression is so common with people with MS. So how much of that contributes to the memory loss too? And according to the researcher, she said that it is most likely the depression in people with MS.
That sounds feasible. Yeah.
I remember reading that recently too, in an article somewhere.
I think Frank's one, your pearl of wisdom. Yeah.
I think
Oh,
Frank, you're
great.
muted.
The microphone's off.
Yeah, I can't hear
There you
you.
go.
My pluralism. Well, first of all, I think it's more than just memory. I think it also involves your ability to recall. I mean, my particular problem, it's there. It's not that I can't remember. I just can't pull it out of the file.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm,
it's particularly an issue when I'm under stress. Okay.
Right.
And
yeah.
just to give you an idea, I spent the day today trying to make my printer work. Now, I know how printers work. I mean, I've been working on printers for a long time. And I could not make my printer work. And I struggled with it for 4 hours today. Finally walked away from it, came back to it an hour later, fixed it like that in the snap of a finger. And it was just a matter, I was under stress and I could not find that bit of information that I had that I needed to get that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of the things, I got a note from Rick that if we're not talking, we might want to mute. That's what's causing a lot of the crosstalk.
The feedback.
getting feedback.
Okay.
And if then it's your turn to talk and you forget to unmute your line, we'll all say unmute your line. So
Yeah.
right there, stop, go back. So no, this is good.
I was curious, and I don't know if anyone else can speak to it, but like with the forgetfulness, I know so many of us have talked about not being able to sleep well. And when I'm not sleeping well, then I feel like everything is just a little fuzzier. So if it's not depression that makes like your memory or your cognition challenge, I would think it might be a little bit of a sleep deficit. I don't know. What do you guys think?
So I get the same way too. So when I don't get very much sleep at night, I have trouble processing things. Everything just is foggy, and same goes with memory. I can't really remember things too much, and I sort of feel like I'm walking around like a zombie or walking around in a haze or something. Um, so sleep super important, of course. And Frank, though, I can definitely relate to what you were saying about stepping away from your prayer and then coming back to it in an hour. I guess just sort of, I guess, snapping yourself out of that mode of thinking and doing something else for a little bit definitely helps. And I guess you could call that reframing your mind. I guess coming back to it later, for example. That definitely helps for me for sure. But I'm trying to remember. Again, this goes back to the memory issues. What else sort of gets in the way of remembering things? Stress is one of them for me, though. I don't know if you guys are the same way.
I know I can no longer multitask. That is not an option for me anymore. That's off the table.
Me too.
I sometimes can't single
Same
task.
here. Yeah.
That's very true, Frank. Can't sometimes it's hard to single task. Let's be honest here.
And I find it as a double-edged sword because so many of us struggle with bladder issues. But when I'm really dehydrated, my mind is for nothing. I have to like drink a bunch of water and then I'm like, it's just that constant struggle. So if anybody has any good tips.
Well, I just know with my recent pain with my neck and shoulder and then the nerve pain down my arm, the last times I've been in the office, holy cow, my attention is terrible and I can't stay on task and it's just bad, 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 bad.
Yeah.
Like, wow,
But
it's shocking how bad it can get from just that.
Do you and I'm thinking now, I'm just like, being honest and everything. I'm all about honesty tonight, but it's just like sometimes though I'm just like, as far as like maintaining control and focus and stuff, what if sometimes it's like I just don't care? And that's I mean, and that's not, like a depressive sort of thing, but I mean it's just like sometimes I think maybe with MS and just everything else in my life, sometimes I just don't want to remember because I wasn't paying attention that much in the first place because it was not a priority for me. And that sounds so bad.
No,
Okay.
I think that's awesome. Why gunk up your brain with a bunch of stuff that you don't need to remember? Just let it. And that's the thing, like, I really take in stride. Like, if it's not written down, don't worry about it. Just let it slide. Doesn't matter. And I
And
think you really learn to prioritize because you have such a finite ability of energy or attention span that you really got to focus what's important, what's not, and then forget the rest.
and if it's really, really important, I tell her. And then I don't forget because she manages everything. So
Yeah. But
I,
I've
I need
MS too, so I have like a convenient excuse if he tells me. I'm like, whoops, MS brain, and just. But I try not to do that. But it is easier if you talk to somebody else and you have
but
somebody.
but if you take, I mean, seriously, and this is like these are my work notes. These are like lists that I make, and it's just like, because I learned my lesson that it's just like as soon as a task came in, it's like, okay, I'll get to that later, but it's like, no, you got to write it down. And I think that's the big thing in terms of, prioritizing and memory. And then it like frees you up so you don't feel like you have to keep hanging on to that because it's right there, and then you cross it off when you're done. So, and that's where she's really good about just making the lists and writing it down. And so it is. I think that's a big thing with memory for me anyway.
Yeah.
I've
That's a
learned
good
I've had to
tip.
use Google Calendar for remembering stuff, for like I need to call this, call the credit card company. I put it in my task to do the next day so it pops up and reminds me, because there's so many things I space off nowadays. Go ahead, Doris.
Oh, no, I'm just listening to you guys. This is exactly what happens to me. And I'm just, I just know exactly what you all are saying. That's all. So, yeah, I put it in my book and I have to write it down. And if it's not going to be done that day, I put an arrow down to the next day. I mean, keep it out in my mind because I don't want to forget about it eventually. So I know that I keep up on every day. And so I know what you mean about trying to remember it. If you just let it go, then, I forgot it and something might happen. So I got to make sure I remember and always write it down. So it
Yeah.
helps me.
I'd say
There's
for me, the first step may be to remember to write things down, because I'm in that stage right now where I know I need to make the list, and yet here I am trying to remember everything in my head, and I know it's not going to work. And so I do end up writing things down. Of course, if they're like for work, for example, like with you, what you do, Dan, I definitely write that down and I put it straight into my phone calendar right then and there. But if it's something like a tour, for example, like I'm not going to write that down. But I need to. I know I need to.
Exactly. And I used to think, oh, can I just hang a little notebook around my neck? Because I will forget not to
Good
write it
idea.
down later.
So that is
there's
a good
I,
idea.
I used to write stuff down all the time, but then I couldn't find the notebook or the piece of paper where I wrote it down. So
I
I just
know.
quit doing that.
Oh,
And try to put things in my phone, but then, either something happens and I get sidetracked, or I pick up my phone and I end up on Facebook and forget to do what I picked up my phone in the first place.
right.
Something always happens. I've got somebody sent me a messenger or whatever, and I'm real spacey that way. So
Hmm.
for me, if I don't do it the instant that it comes across my brain, it doesn't get done, or I forget about it completely. I might think about it enough to put it in my phone as an appointment, because I don't do tasks. I make appointments for things that are important or need to be done. And so, I mean, that's what I have to do. But my problem is I hate, my apartment doesn't get any sunshine, and I hate this place. I'm trying to move out. I'm trying to buy a house. So for me, this place is my nemesis, because I'm not getting anything done living here, but I'm not getting anything done getting out of here because this place is such a nightmare. So I forget to do the things that I need to do, regarding the process, and I'll end up on, I'll get a Zillow notice or a realtor.com notice that says, hey, this house has popped up. And I'm like, let's look at it. You got to do the other things first. That house won't be there by the time you get to that stage. So anyway, that's my deal. I
I
just,
actually I have some tips on trying to remember things, because I also have ADHD, which means I forget to do everything and get super distracted easily.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Hmm.
Google has
Love to
an
hear
app
that.
called Notes, and I have it on the main screen of my phone. So when I first open my phone, it's the only thing I see, and I check it every time I open my phone. And I have a running to-do list on it and a bunch of other lists, but the to-do list is what's always open.
That's smart.
I was
So,
going, is that keep notes?
yeah, keep notes.
And
Writing it
that's what I
down.
was going to say just a minute ago is I do the I keep notes, and you can also do it using the microphone so you don't have to type it in. And I keep it running all the time. And it keeps me on track. It really
Cool.
does.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm definitely gonna find that. Look for that app, but I desperately need
I'm
it.
huge into voice to text. That has really helped me. I'll show you here on the screen what the little icon looks like. Just hold on. It's a yellow screen with a light bulb on it. Right.
Oh, I see it.
Sorry, I'm being stupid here. Ah, sorry. There we go. That keep notes.
Oh, the light bulb.
I,
Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
see it. Yeah.
Thank you.
And Dan and I, it sounds silly, but we take vitamins every day. And for like $3 or $2, you can buy a pill sorter. And that helps me keep track of our vitamins that we take every day.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then we have an app on our phone, we both do, from Mango Health. And that reminds me like every day to take my Myrbetriq or to take any medicine, like because I take baclofen every 3 hours. And, if my caregiver or Dan, if I forget, I'll be like, TENS is crap. But that Mango Health will help me keep that straight.
Can I ask you, what is baclofen for?
That, for me, Doris, I never want to speak for everyone, but for me, baclofen helps my spasticity, helps my muscles so they're not so stiff.
Okay.
And Michelle is nodding her head like that helps her as well too, or that's the way it works for her.
Yes, that's correct. I have spasticity as well. And lately, I get the banding in my feet, the pain banding. And so I may have to move off I'm on the maximum dose of baclofen right now. So, I may have to move to, I don't know, I've tried tizanidine and it gave me some of the worst side effects I've ever had in my life.
Mhm.
And that was just off of like one day's first day.
Wow.
And so I don't know if I would do well on any of the others, but
Yeah.
baclofen seems to do well for me. I think I might. I don't have really high spasticity though. I'm not one of the elevated levels. And so, but I don't know. I mean, I do know that when I don't take the baclofen, it gets extremely painful. So as long as I keep on my, 4 doses a day, I'm in pretty good shape.
Do you deal with like spasms, Doris? Does your MS like make your muscles stiff or rigid?
My feet spasm. I just had a spasm earlier, but anyway, they spasm, and that was kind of something that came along in 1998. All these little things. I'm trying to think of anything else. My stomach too. Little things like that, spasms, but I don't know. It's not the spasms I've seen in others though who have MS.
Okay.
Are the
I was
spasms you're
getting
talking
these.
about kind of like tremors?
I
No, the spasms are like I was getting a little bit larger than a quarter around. You can't see because of the, let's see, a quarter size. I'm trying to get like, and I was putting my hand behind it, the wrong side of the camera. About, a decent size around a quarter, $50 size spot on my thighs, or one thigh, that you could see it sinking in. It was just pulling the muscle in, and it was starting to ripple, and there was like 2 or 3 of them at a point, and then and then the other thigh, you could see it going undulating. So yeah, I mean, that's more of my problem, is the spasms more than the spasticity. Um, and then in my calves. But my neuro is really good at just looking at my legs and saying, oh, you've got, elevated muscle tone or this and that, and he prescribes me what I need, and it works. So I just hand myself over to him and say, do what you will, and he makes me feel better.
And Tree, I don't know if I think that sometimes when I'm really tired, or if I've been in my standing frame, then my legs will just be like not my friend for a little while, and then I will get like tremors. By that I mean where my leg will just shake uncontrollably. But other than that, I just have like where I'm really stiff. So I don't know if that's
I think, I'm sorry, I didn't know if you were done. Go ahead.
No, I wasn't going to say anything.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I do. I think what you're talking about, Jennifer, is clonus, because I have that as well. It's an uncontrollable bouncing of the large leg muscle, large leg muscles. And that my doctor explained to me that that's clonus, because I get it in the bathroom. Well, I get it when I first get up in the morning, and swing my legs down off the bed, and they would sit there and just bounce and bounce and bounce and bounce and bounce, and I would have to, until I could plant my foot firmly onto the floor and press down into it to make it stop. And I'd have to sit there for a minute, until it would actually stop. I'd pick up my leg and it would start again, but I have to keep doing that until it was finally over. And it happens to me in the shower as well, which, that's a scary place, but
yeah, I would say that would be scary.
Well, it's when, shaving the legs and, doing that kind of thing. So I've always managed to find a way to work through that. So if I'm in the shower, you can go up on your toes and stretch that ankle muscle in different directions. That helps in the shower. If I put if my foot's up on the edge of the tub and I'm shaving my legs or something, but then if I take my ankle down below the edge of the tub, then it doesn't really help, but I have to go up on my toe to make it stop. And I just hold on to the shower, the shower safety rails that I put in, the little suction cup rails. They're awesome.
Yeah.
I had my right foot was spasming when I was driving today, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Wow.
That's the worst, and you can't do anything because you have to. But like you, I can bend my toe, and when I walk on my foot, if not in the car, that helps it relieve it. The muscle starts to. But sometimes it happens in the worst places where you're at.
A little scary, yeah.
Driving would be scary.
Yeah.
It was. My husband was scared. I said, "Oh, I've got a cramp in my foot. Uh-oh, that's the gas pedal."
Oh, no.
Dan and Jen, do you need to leave us to go watch the
No,
Dodgers?
we're good. We're good. It was just like if it got to that point, I'm just thinking, but I mean, no, we're good because we're recording, so we can fast forward through the commercials, and so anyway, no, we're good.
Yeah.
So no, but so now that we are at the 9:30 mark, for anybody, I mean, so you're saying, okay, I can't wait for the 27th. Yeah, today's 27th. I mean, so the group meeting on the 27th, because I really, really, really want to talk about this. What's this for you? What haven't we talked about that you're just dying to ask? 3, 2. Okay, well then I'll ask.
I don't know.
Did you guys get your copy of Springsteen's new release, Letter to You? So, okay, no, but you really wanted to ask a question. So what did you guys
I
want
didn't
to
even
know?
know it existed. I'm so sorry, Dan. Didn't know.
Uh,
Totally ignorant over here.
no, you're not ignorant. You haven't been enlightened yet. So anyway, so yeah.
We have an entire room of our house with Bruce Springsteen pictures, and this is my husband.
Yeah, see all of it behind her. That's Bruce.
That's his obsession.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll make the announcement. Then I will stop because this has nothing to do with multiple sclerosis. But it was 45 years ago today that Springsteen appeared on the covers of Time and Newsweek magazine. So take that. That's it.
So that's Dan.
That's my life.
He does seem passionate about Bruce. And do you
Yep.
like Bruce, Jen, or is it all just Dan?
No, I do, but when I met him, and this is a little side diversion. When I met him at an MS function, so there it creeped away in. But my mom, after the function, she's like, I think that boy liked you. And I said, but Mom, he likes baseball and he likes Bruce Springsteen. Ew. And I have now seen Bruce Springsteen in concert 9 times. And for my honeymoon, I went to see the Boston Red Sox in Toronto. So he has a way with, he can I like Springsteen and I enjoy baseball, obviously. So
Yeah.
it
Well,
was,
guys, I'm going to have to go. So, on a happy note, I'll see you next time. Bye.
Doris.
bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Doris.
Bye.
Doris.
Take care.
Bye.
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 Yeah, let me just now, so we don't lose anybody here before it's announced, and so we're all on the same page. Our next meeting will be on Tuesday, November 10th.
Week
Yes?
after the election.
Wait, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Week after the election, so Tuesday, November 10th. So,
And everybody needs to remember, I don't know how many people are on Medicare, but it's open enrollment time.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
Good time to change your Medicare policy if that suits you. I know it did me.
Same with the Affordable Health Care Act. So I'm going to need to go on and re-register again because that's where I get my insurance. Do all that fun stuff again.
now can we, and I'm not asking to get political. This is just a question I have, because when the last presidential debate, okay, so I had taken a picture, I had put it on Facebook. It was because I just took my Beta-Seron, so I had a picture of my syringe, and in the background you have the two presidents, the presidential candidates debating, and I just said it was mildly ironic that I was taking a medication that costs over $100,000 a year, as those two candidates were up debating or talking about affordable prescription drug prices and covering people with pre-existing conditions. And so it was a question of, you know, how much do either of these candidates really understand what those of us living with MS are dealing with in terms of prescription drug prices? To which somebody had commented on my Facebook is like, oh, won't it go down come January? So I guess my question is it like through something that like executive order Trump signed or something? Because I'm just like, I didn't want to sound ignorant and commenting back and saying, what do you mean? But it's just like, is nothing will change, correct?
Well,
No, nothing's going to change. I actually went through because I was trying to figure out what that was about too. And so I went hunting for the research, hunting for the answers. And what I found was the executive orders that he did sign actually don't change anything, because the departments that he's telling them to change the prices for, he doesn't have the control or the authority, actually is a better word. He doesn't have the authority to make that order. So that is just a void. And then he did do some things with Medicare, but they don't result in any changes either. So, and then there was, so from everything that I could find to back that up and figure out what it was, there was, I think there was only one that I could find that was positive, and if I'm missing it, somebody else can jump in and tell me. But there was only one thing that I could find that that he did, but it was so nominal. And and in specifically, I think during the debate, it was mentioned about insulin prices, but the insulin prices have actually increased during his administration. So I couldn't find any information to back that up.
Okay. Well, thank you. Yeah, I didn't, because I figured if anyone knew anything about MS prescription drug prices, it'd be the MS community. So.
Yeah, and MS drugs were not in there.
Were you going to say something, Frank?
Well, I really haven't paid that much attention to it because I'm not on any of the expensive drugs,
Yeah.
I take inexpensive blood pressure medication and that's it anymore. I think the biggest thing is going to be if they do start letting people shop internationally, Canada, for their drugs and try to get the drug pricing down that way, get some competition going that way. I do think some things need to be done with the way that the drug companies can extend and extend and extend their patents. Avonex is still under a patent. Come on, it's been out there.
Really?
Huh?
I can't believe that it's still under patent.
All they have to do is make a change to it, and they start all over again.
Wow.
That's the thing that's got to change.
Yeah, Avonex was the first MS drug I took when I was diagnosed 23 years ago.
And they've gone from, well, you used to have to mix it. Remember when you had to mix it yourself?
Yes.
They made it, pre-mix. So that was a new patent. So it extended it out again, and on and on and on it goes.
Yeah, well, I hope that they do something about that.
I could tell you stories where a drug, for example, Plavix, which is like an antiplatelet drug, went generic, and then they had to pull it and go back to brand because all the lawyer fighting. And then I've had drug companies buy up a cheap drug, reformulate it, and so when the doctor writes the brand name, because it's way easier to write it, we can't substitute it. And so they're like, why is this $100 when it should be like $15? And it's like, because we legally cannot change it to the generic. I have to call the doctor, go, yo, this is what you want, because they've reformulated it, so now it's a non-preferred drug, so now it's $100 copay versus $15 cash. Lots of shit. The day that Prevacid went over the counter, they did not go over the counter until the day it went to generic, and that's when it went over the counter. They waited till the last possible second. They kept it prescription. Lots of shady stuff in the pharmaceutical. I know you guys recently heard of the OxyContin and that drug and how they're like fined like somewhere between 3 or 6 billion. That is nothing compared for that what they've made off of that drug. At one point, Lipitor, which is a Pfizer drug for cholesterol, at one point they were making $1 million an hour worldwide. Did they fight for that to go, how to keep it on brand as much as possible? They did. And which drug company? So when you go generic, it's just one company that has the generic for so many months before it opens up to everyone else. So the generic company is usually a subsidiary of the brand company. So when you got generic Lipitor came out, if I looked at just the pills, same markings on the pills, you could not tell what was generic or brand because exact same markings. So it's the exact same pill from the exact same company. It was just like one of their subsidiaries.
Well, it's like Ampera, okay? Ampera, I don't know, what is it, $70,000 a year or something like that? That is foraminoparidine.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about $30 a month.
That's why to be affordable, I know when I was taking the Ampera, I would go to a compounding pharmacy just so that I could afford it, and my insurance would be happy. I did go to a compounding pharmacy. I think that's just a shame that, it's so. And then, Kim, like you were saying, that company with the Oxycontin, that company is filing bankruptcy from what I understand because it has to pay like $8 billion. And what you're talking about is just that they got money hand over fist. And this doesn't seem.
It's very sad. And then it's really sad when you compare. So we know what the American prices are, but then you go overseas and you see their prices and you're like, what is this huge? But there's only 2 countries in the world you can do direct to consumer advertising. So all the different Viagra commercials and see, it's the US and New Zealand. Those are the only 2 places in the world you can do prescription drugs directly to the population.
Wow.
And those sucker Super Bowl commercials aren't cheap, y'all.
Yeah. Wow.
So again, you wanted to talk about what? Springsteen and what else?
I don't
I
care
mailed
for
my
spring.
ballot in, and I mailed it on Saturday, and it arrived at my county office on Monday. So that was pretty impressive.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Because all this mail stuff. I mean, obviously, I live in the city that the county seat is where they do the ballots, but the fact that they had it the next business day and they had it logged online where you can go online and see if they received your ballot. They got it the next day. I was impressed by that. I was blown away by that.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That is impressive. Wow.
All I say is vote.
I was going to say how many by show of hands have voted so far?
Have or have
Not.
not?
How many
Have
I have
voted.
not.
Early voting.
Wait.
Who's done early voting?
Who did early voting?
I-
Who's voting day of?
I am.
I'm just voting whenever I get my sample ballot filled out. My ballot is 4 pages this year.
Wow.
Yeah. We have a lot of amendments and they've written them very confusingly.
Okay.
Thank you, Florida.
But I do think
We don't do anything easy in Florida, do we?
No.
My
But that-
ballot
no.
had Kanye West on it.
What?
Really?
Kanye got on the ballot
How?
in my state.
How? For what?
Well, I'm sure somebody votes for him.
Oh,
This
wow.
is gonna be on its side, but these are all the people that were running for president on the Iowa ballot.
Oh, okay.
So you can see Kanye is
Wow.
the last one on there.
Wow.
Yeah. And everyone
Okay.
else besides Biden, Trump, and Kanye, I have heard nothing about.
Yeah, and you never will as long as we have we have a primary system. If we did a different type of voting, like there's 2 different other proposals out there. I've seen ranked choice, and I can't remember what the other one's called, but there's 2 different other ways, instead of voting for party systems like we have now. If we had like ranked choice voting or some other type of voting, then you would hear about the other people. You'd hear from them.
Yeah.
But I think I mean, it is encouraging, just like those who have voted already and those who are going to vote. So that's, yeah. So, yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Thank you for reminding me, Kim, that Kanye was a contender at one point.
Because I thought he dropped out then.
No, so if
Yeah.
you go like to Wiki, there's lots of states he missed the deadline, so he couldn't get on the ballot. But no, Iowa was one of the states he's on the ballot. So this is me being snarky. This is probably not appropriate, but when I look at my ballot, I don't know if I'm voting for who's supposed to be on the surreal life or for the president of the United States. Sorry. I'll end my comment, Frank. I will end my comment. But seriously, I'm like, I got a rapper and I got a reality TV star. Am I the real life? What are we doing here? That's what it feels like to me.
That is funny.
Very
That
good.
is funny though.
But yeah, so yes, on Tuesday vote, and then we will have our next meeting on the 10th
10th
of November. Wow.
On our way to Thanksgiving.
On our way. Woohoo! Is anyone like getting all dressed up and crazy for Halloween this year? Or are we like past that?
This is what I've decided on. This is just very recent. So I don't feel comfortable the way my house is designed to like open up the door and do trick-or-treaters because it's not a good way to separate, and then my dog's there. So I was planning walking my dog around anyway, so I might be dressing her up, I might be dressing me up, and I'll be when we're walking, I can come across kids, I'm gonna be flinging candy at them. So I'll have a big bag of candy, and if I see kids like it. But my neighborhood, we're not really big on trick-or-treaters. Now, when I lived in Sioux City, I'd get like over 300 kids, and we were huge, massive there.
Wow.
Yeah, we had fun. If I was in that house, I'd be okay handing out candy because I could block off my front porch, and I'd be out there, and then I could fling the candy at the kids. But or I can make my neighbor down the street who has a deck on the front, made a little chute with a gutter. So he's going to have candy go down the chute, which is cute. Yeah.
That is cute.
I live in an apartment, you know, there's a few kids in this area. I mean, it varies from year to year. Some years I get, you know, several, and some years I get none. So, and inevitably, the years that I decide not to open the door and don't buy candy, the years that everybody's knocking on my door. So I did buy a big old bag of candy, and I ate all my favorite chocolate pieces out of. So now I can give them away, all the suckers, and the parts that I don't care for. And I'm going to make chocolate chip cookies for myself. So
I have to give myself credit. I bought a bag of 275 pieces, and I haven't opened it yet. And it's
oh my gosh.
Good for you, Frank. Wow, it's impressive.
I know. Yeah, that's very.
I think.
Don't ask me tomorrow.
I was going to say, let's see how the weekend goes.
Tonight, you know, who knows?
Nothing's wrong with that.
And don't forget then that you fall back on, at least for wherever you live, if you observe falling back. So gain an extra hour of 2020 and an extra hour of Halloween.
I'd forgotten about that, actually.
Yeah, we're falling back
Saturday night, yes.
Saturday night.
Yes. And then it's a full moon on Halloween.
Oh,
it's a blue moon. It's the second full moon in October 1st and October 31st.
That's exciting.
Riches, wow.
The last time it happened was 2001, but it was just in the Central Time Zone and the Pacific Time Zone. The last time all 4 time zones in lower 48 were full moon on Halloween was 1944, like 76 years ago or something.
Wow.
Older than
Super
all of
exciting.
us. That was a quiz.
Wait, 1976?
1940.
What year did
46.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let me look it up because that was a quiz question I had for we do a family quizzes every week, and I was the person. 1944, 76 years ago. Yep.
Oh,
It was
76.
also
I
our
thought you
time
said it was
zone.
1976. And I'm like, I'm older than 1974.
No, none of us were born 1944 or earlier. I
No,
can
but I
say
thought
that
you
with
said
confidence.
1976. I
No,
thought
that
you
was
said
76
1970.
years ago
Yeah.
in 1944.
Yeah.
Wow.
So did you say that this year is going to have the blue moon, whatever it is? Is that
Right.
this year too?
So a blue moon, if you have a blue moon, it's considered if you have 2 full moons in a month. So the blue moon happens on Halloween because that's the second full moon in October. Because the first one was on October 1st, earlier this month.
Right. But did you limit it to only certain time zones?
I just said the last time it usually happens out every 19 years that you have a full moon, but it may not happen in all the time zones. So the last time we had it was in 2001, but that was just I think the central and Pacific time zones that experienced the full moon.
Those of us in the eastern side got nothing.
Yeah.
So
See, that's what I was wondering because I was thinking I don't see very many of these moony things y'all talk about all the time. I'm like,
it's just 2020, we got to have the craziness. And there was some other crazy stuff happening some other month during COVID where we had like Friday the 13th, and then on Cinco de Mayo was Taco Tuesday, and some other crazy other like weird goofy things.
I
It's like,
remember that.
It's 2020 and 2020 is almost over. This
Yeah.
year,
hopefully 2021 is going to be better.
Let's hope.
Fingers
Hope that.
It can't
Yeah.
be worse.
Yes. No,
yes, it can.
don't
Say that.
Great. The last thing I want to ask, and I promised I wouldn't ask any more questions, but I'm going to ask one more question. Did we get your email address, or would you mind, like, if, yeah. I don't know how that happens. I was not a girl that dated a lot where I'm like, hey, can I have your phone number or something? Hopefully we could see you again. How about that? Oh,
How about this? How about Hannah? Can you get Tree's email address and
Yes.
get it to us?
Yes, if that's okay with you, Tree. Yeah.
So
Thank you,
Hannah,
Thank you, Hannah.
what you need to do now then is say, Tree, can I have your email asking for a friend, right?
Can I have your email, Tree? Asking for a lot of friends. Yes.
Yeah, because Tree's already taken,
Thank
so
you.
that's off the table. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tree.
This is Rick, and the reason we ask you for your email is we actually will send you a reminder before the next meeting. So you'll know when the meeting is and you'll know how to join.
Oh, that's really nice. Thank you.
I do have a question for Tree. Is there anything that you want to ask Alice? Been diagnosed for a while, people, anything since you newly? I know that you have all this MS experience with your mother and your grandfather, but is there anything you wanted to pick her brains or ask?
Not right now. I'm kind of overwhelmed absorbing everything that's already been said.
No worries.
We'll be back in 2 weeks, so you got 2 weeks to start creating your list in your Keep Notes app, right?
Yeah.
And you have my number, so you're welcome to call me anytime, Tree.
I'd like to say something to you, Tree. I don't know if Hannah mentioned, but last month we had a wonderful video, a webinar that addressed how families talk about MS within their own family, within their own unit. And we had mothers and we had fathers and daughters. I think we had brothers and sisters. We had all kinds of combinations. And we had a terrific doctor who gave an introduction. and a wonderful lady who was the moderator who interviewed each couple. And if you'd like to listen to it, I will, either somebody will send it to you when we get your email, or I'm going to put it in the chat box right now, and then you can just pull it up. I would say it was worth listening to, but I have to defer to the MS people that were on this call to verify that.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I do too. I thought it helpful.
So I'm just looking for you right now, and I'll put it in. But especially coming from a family that had generations of MS, there's a lot of stuff that I think you might relate to. And it was good. I'm so glad. And it was really thanks to the efforts of the Digmans who put the whole panel together, and we couldn't have done it without them. Let's put it that way.
We couldn't have done it without you. So thank you. Thank you for giving us the platform to do that. It
was fantastic. All right. So there it is in the chat window. If you click on that link, it'll tell you more about it and give you links to listen to it and more. And by the way, guys, I think Dr. Buster's sweatshirt should have been delivered to yesterday or today.
Nice.
So if you hear from him, you'll know why.
And if we hear from him and he doesn't, and you're not on it, we'll make sure you get it. We'll forward it to you. Okay. So thank you.
Now, if it's the wrong size, let me know, and we'll ship it back. We'll order him the right size. Okay.
Absolutely.
I thought he did an excellent job, especially when he was like on the fly having to talk about stuff. Like,
yeah, I mean, and then this is Patritri. He became an MS neurologist because he grew up with an uncle who had fairly advanced MS. And it really touched him from the age of a young teenager, and that's what he wanted to do. He tells this story. It's very heartwarming. It's a wonderful story, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he's pretty impressed.
Pretty amazing doctor.
Yeah. But I mean, if you just go to YouTube and search Aaron Boster, I mean, because he has just a billion YouTube videos. He's just dynamic and stuff, and always helpful. So, yeah.
Thank you. I'll check it out.
Okay.
Pleasure.
So, does anybody else have any questions for the good of the people?
No, it was good to see everybody again, and I look forward to the next meeting.
Good. Yeah, well, thank you all for coming tonight. Now, it's always fun. It's always good information, at least for me. I hope you all get something out of it too, because I just like to be able to, use people who get it and understand and can relate to spasticity and everything else.
Yes.
Right. For many of you, how else would you know that Springsteen has a new album?
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. See?
Yeah.
So I bet next time y'all are going to come with questions or things to talk about, because if we better come up with something, otherwise Digman's going to talk about Springsteen again. So that'll be your lesson.
have you ever had a chance to meet him in person? I know you said Jen said she's been to 9 of his concerts, but
No, I've been to 13 and never had a chance to meet him. My roommate from college is a bigger freak than I am, and he did meet him briefly. It was just like a book signing thing, and you had to get in a lottery and stuff, and it was like just sheep to the slaughter. There's like you can't talk to him. He'll sign your book, get a picture, and you're done. So, but it's closer than I ever got to him. So no, I haven't met him yet.
I actually have a very good Springsteen concert story. I had a close friend for many, many years, although I haven't spoken to him for a long time. And when I've lived here for a long time, but I went back to Europe in 1996 and I lived there for 5 years. And when I came back and lived very close to where he lives, and we spent a bunch of time together. And I was not a Springsteen fan. I'm sorry, Dan. I just have to tell you. I mean, I was not a fan, an anti-fan, but it never did much for me.
Understood.
And he was a Springsteen fan, like you're a Springsteen fan. Like if they had 3 nights of concerts, he'd get tickets for every night. And one day he said to me, and I have somewhat of a history, although I don't follow it anymore. I have somewhat of a history with the NBA because I've worked for 2 separate owners of NBA basketball teams in my time. And he said to me, I've got tickets for a Sacramento Kings game. And I said, great. And he said, I want you to come. We got floor seats. So I said, oh yeah, okay, that'll be great. He said, I'm going to pick you up, and you've got to be on time, and we've got to get out there. And I said, okay, whatever you say. So he picks me up, and we drive from Marin to Sacramento, which is about an hour and a half. And I see on the way a couple of cars with Springsteen stickers. I say, oh, look, there's a buddy of yours. There's a buddy of mine. And we pull into the Sacramento Kings arena, and there's like more Springsteen stuff. And I'm saying, what's going on here? And we park, and then there's a big line. And I'm saying, why are we standing in line? It turned out he hoodwinked me into going to a Springsteen concert.
Yes.
He basically at me, took me up all the way to Sacramento, and I have been to 1 Springsteen concert.
Wow.
I thought you were going to an NBA game and you end up sitting next to Springsteen at a basketball game. No, he took you to a concert.
Well, much worse than that.
And they're not short concerts. So when you're there, you're there, so.
Thank your friend for me.
And worse than that, we didn't sit in our seats. We had to be in the front with all the people standing up and everything.
You stood for the whole time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Last time we saw him, his concert was 3.5 hours long. So that you get your money's worth there. So
that's like Dave Matthews. They play the entire time. I think they were off stage 45 seconds to do a pee break before their encore, and they play the entire time. Incredible.
Yeah.
How much they play.
Yeah, I had a big Dave Matthews fan, but I never got kidnapped for that one.
Great story.
All right.
Well, very good. Well, then I'm going to check out because it's half hour longer than I said we'd be here, 40 minutes. So this is awesome. See, that's the thing, is just we all have good conversations, and yeah. So again, November 10th, fall back on Saturday, extra hour of Halloween, vote on Tuesday, and we'll see you in, gosh, that is just 2 weeks.
I'm depending on Rick to keep me up with the time because Arizona's game. It's 8:30 Eastern.
It'll be
Yes.
instead of being at 5:30, it's going to be at 6:30.
We'll be at 6:30 then.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's right. You guys in Arizona don't play the game, do you?
Can
Thanks,
you
everybody.
just
Halloween.
vote to get
Be safe.
rid of daylight saving time? This movement is kind of a moot point now with electricity. Can we just get rid of it completely?
We get into this
Yes,
discussion.
let's get rid of
Everybody.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Well, Rick has left the building, so I guess we'll do the after party now.
After party! No, I'm just kidding.
All right. Well,
Mike is gone, but y'all need to get some sleep too, and we need to.
You need to go watch the ball game.
Well,
Well, it's gonna be fun because you can fast forward through all the commercials. Wow, this is
Exactly.
great. This all this
We
playtime.
be tempted to say, should we just watch it live now? But hold the momentum.
No,
So
go
No,
watch
you
from the
got to
beginning
build it up.
and see all the good plays.
absolutely. Well, you all take care. Have fun. It was great. No, I like these meetings. So thank you all.
Yeah, thank you.
And
well,
Tree, thanks for coming. It's great to meet
Yeah.
Yeah, look forward to your
Come
questions.
back again.
you. Yeah,
Thank you for having me.
absolutely. So come with your anti-Springsteen questions so we can talk about MS instead of the boss. So, but yeah, no, it's
I'm not
good.
a fan either.
Exactly. Well, then you all take care, and you guys leave. See, no, you hang up first. No, you first. No, I need you all to leave because I'm going to close out and cut everything off. So, no,
That's so
you hang up
Midwestern,
first.
Dan.
I'm
You
leaving
hang
now.
up
The long goodbyes.
first. All right.
I will
Bye.
Bye, you guys.
Bye. Couple weeks.
care.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.